What is going on, family? What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading in the Markets, getting ready for our live stream over here. It's going to be a good one. I'm really excited for it. Looking forward to sharing lots of valuable information with everyone, making sure we keep that strong situational awareness, staying on top of the bull of all bulls as it is bucking enormously with this massive mid-cycle shakeout. Time to get going and take a look at it together. As we do over here, we're seeing headlines this morning, traditional markets over here. You're looking at futures jumping back up, central bankers pushing back on inflation fears. There's no inflation. There's no inflation, right? But more importantly over here in this one, zero hedge, I talked about just bringing it up to you over the past couple of weeks. Listen, there's talk of too much liquidity out there that the Fed is going to be forced to do reverse repo. I don't know what it means yet. We're just watching it from afar. If it becomes more clear, we'll talk about it together. I didn't know, but around that time, going back all the way to the 11th of May, a couple of weeks ago, at that point, Zero Hedge was like, listen, if they taper, it's going to be bullish for the markets, right? Over here yesterday, you had Zoltan. Zoltan was the one who brought up the fact that the Fed is going to be forced to do reverse repo in the first place. He's the one who brought it to the market's attention. You all are familiar with him from, I guess it was late December 2019 when I brought up what was going on in the repo market using all of his work. He's saying now in his letter to investors, if they have to do the reverse repo is going to be bullish for the markets. Excess liquidity in the system, banks don't have a place to store it and are actually begging the Fed to taper. It's going to be bullish for the markets. We will see. We will see. But again, the markets are not crashing. People keep calling, the markets are crashing. The markets are crashing. Watch out for the markets to crash. What happens to Bitcoin if the markets crash? If they start crashing or lose an important level, rest assured, we will be on top of it. That's not what's happening right now. If you look back this year so far in 2021, the work we've done from afar on the equity markets has been so strong. It's actually been a masterclass. Whether or not it was the video done on the 17th of February, the 17th or 18th on February, talking about a possible incoming correction on the equity markets, right? It played out stronger on the Nasdaq than it did on the S&P. Not only that, as it then started correcting, pointed out it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, before the Nasdaq trades back at new all-time highs. Once we broke out from our trend line, we showed how to position into it. We then had this bull flag develop, right? We watched it, and then soon enough, the markets made new all-time highs, and then we went back into another correction, right? This one was not called out ahead of time. I'm not in the habit of calling corrections. This one was done for a specific reason. If you want to find out why, go watch the video. It's all on video. That's the great thing about what we do over here. And then we said, look, this is an aggressive entry. This aggressive entry, we saw what happened. Probably taking, if you took it, stop loss at break even as you came into that near resistance. As you move into the trading styled CTM strategy and principles, as price moves when buying into the nearest resistance, your stop losses move to break even, right? If you didn't, right, either which way, we then said, listen, we have a confluence of horizontal resistance and our trend line resistance. Breaking above this sets this off. Breakout, retest, resumption, entry, still holding over there. Looks like a nice bit of trade. If you're interested in the equity markets, you're probably better off not being micro-focused on market watch. Caution, alert, and follow what we do and follow from afar, right? The DXY over here, what's happening? Slight bounce off support. This trend line I put out over here, that's the first indication that this downward price pressure is alleviating. If that does happen, if we break the support, we could be soon looking at not only 12-year low, but going into 3-year low and further. We'll take a look at it if it happens. Gold and silver unchanged today. Let's take a look at what's going on in Bitcoin today as we traded up into 40,000, up 3.5% right now. Bitcoin trading at $39,659. What's going on? Let's take a look. Let me drop down to the 2-hour with you, right? Let me jump over to my Bitstamp chart over here. And it's very clear what I'm looking at, right? What I see over here developing is a reverse head and shoulders, right? You can see it happening. There's the neckline over there, right? Could this possibly be the thing that catapults us out of this bottom? Sure, it could be, but we don't know what happens. We have a couple of different options. We have option A, and we have option B. Let's look at option B over here. This is chart put out by Decoding the Market on Twitter. Decoding the Market over here, CTM, and he's showing us what a proper Wyckoff distribution pattern looks like, right? How it plays out. And then next to it, giving us the schematic for the accumulation phase. Because you all know after a distribution phase, it comes an accumulation phase, right? Or at least I know that from afar. This beautiful chart was shared on Twitter, right? And is showing a fractal from the 2017 Bitcoin bull run in the 2016 cycle, not occurring the same time that we currently are in cycle. This happened right before the end of the bull market. Everyone's familiar with this period over here because this is when Ethereum started running hard versus Bitcoin going into its cycle peak. What you're looking at over here is also a Wyckoff distribution pattern, and then you see it play out, but then you see price recover really quickly, right? And I keep saying to you, this is option B. We're watching, and we will know what happened yesterday's session, I believe, or the day before, and both of them clearly laid out option B. If we enter into any type of Wyckoff accumulation phase, how we're going to spot it and how we're going to look out for it. So Dan, this is the question I want to take a look at. There's a lot of, let's say, misinterpretation is all it is, that a Wyckoff distribution already played out perfectly. Whether Bitcoin enters a Wyckoff accumulation is another question, right? Now that it's pointed out so clearly, probably not. Well, Dan, a couple of things, let's clear that up for everyone. Most of all, always for myself, but for everyone. It's very important over here because this is option B. I'm watching what happens if this is truly a Wyckoff distribution pattern. What happens that we go into this accumulation phase? If the institutions indeed spent 3 months forming and playing out this pattern, it was for a reason, and that reason is for them to spend time accumulating to bring it back up, right? You could see this playing out over here. And I said, well, I don't think it is a Wyckoff distribution pattern because what I think is going to happen is that we're going to have a quick recovery. And whether that happens or not, that remains to be seen. We will see. That is option A. Option B, we're watching, well, if we don't, we're going to be highly aware of it really quick and be able to pivot to option B. You can see what's occurring here right now today. This is right now where we are in cycle. We're seeing the panic capitulation. Do we have a quick recovery like this fractal played out, as has occurred in every previous cycle during mid-cycle, approximately 150 days to the peak, or do we enter some type of different behavior in Bitcoin where we go sideways for a while, right? But I'm not so sure. I never spent more than, let's call it, up until I watched that video I shared with you last week, more than 10, 15 minutes in my 20-year career looking at any type of Wyckoff patterns. It was just logical and intuitive to me. So I spent some time yesterday taking a look at it. Look, I started here, this ultimate guide to Wyckoff trading, and it goes really detailed. And I said, all right, reading through that, let's see what's going on. I want to make sure that I am on point, especially if I'm telling people that that's not really a Wyckoff distribution pattern if we don't go into accumulation. And then here's my first sign. We conclude that any significant move up or down happens because of the preliminary accumulation or distribution, and that accumulation and distribution always occurs after a significant move up or down. So they're saying that it always occurs. No big deal. I'm still not sure. Todd, I know. Todd's a Wyckoff expert, right? Todd yesterday, hey Todd, could it be considered a Wyckoff distribution event if price recovers very quickly without accumulation? Todd's like, well, if there's a quick recovery with no accumulation, then it probably is a shakeout on the larger picture. Oh, you mean mid-cycle shakeout, right? Our option A of what we're looking for over there. You can follow Todd over here on Twitter, and Todd always strong Wyckoff work. So listen, that answers the question over there. I wasn't sure. I wanted to be sure when I tell you that it's not truly a Wyckoff distribution pattern if we have a quick recovery, right? I was just you know, under the impression. But I want to be sure. I checked with the experts, two of them, both saying the same exact thing. I'm going to have to say, well, it's really not a Wyckoff distribution pattern. If we see a quick recovery, if we go into the accumulation phase, we'll know how to play it. All right. But what it does look like is this. You have over here, this is Ian and Ted's work lining up the previous cycles to the mid-cycle shakeout over here. And you could see the price action, the 35 days into the mid-cycle shakeout. It's almost identical. This is the part that threw it up. This is the part that said, it could be Wyckoff distribution, right? But looking at this and lining it up, it becomes very clear, at least to myself, bringing us to option A. This continues to be the base case. Option A, we're looking for the next two waves into the blow off top. We still got a lot of work to do before we know if we recover or not. We have a lot of work to do. Right now, we're currently trading at $39,000 over here. Is it safe to say, the next milestone we need to achieve, and we need to achieve it, let's say, we have clearer dates coming up for you in a little bit this morning, but claiming 45,000 to 51,000 in the next week or so, is that going to put us, leaving the descent out of the ascent, lining up and still matching previous cycles? Yeah, that would be another situational awareness point that everything continues to look good and we continue to climb out of here, staying focused and staying where we are. Alan, all over Twitter, firing it up and lighting it up, right? He's putting out some impressive work. He is pointing out that we have both CME, the last Friday of the month, you have CME options expiring and debit options expiring this Friday. Is it possible soon after that we could see 50K? I think last I heard max pain was at 48,000. 48,000 is max pain. Is it possible that before or after, boom, all of a sudden we're trading back up? It remains the base case, option A. By the way, if you're watching this on the live stream over here this morning, happy to be sharing the time. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let's get going over here. Listen, for all of you who continue to really support my wife and I and my family with your thoughts and your prayers, we're so grateful. We went to the doctor twice yesterday. Wife 3 centimeters dilated. They sent her back home. They're like, each day that the baby's in the womb is so important. We're taking it day by day. We're taking it. Thank you so much for your continued support and your continued love. Alan, absolute fire. And then Alan comes over here. I mean, he went off on some fire, right? I gotta like, retweet. I want to actually work with Alan over here, explaining these charts over here. Going back to the 2013 cycle. By the way, 2013 cycle, mid-cycle dip is right here, right? Did people think this was a bear market? We had what? We had a 70% drawdown over here, right? Price recovered a little bit, and then it went in to make a series of lower highs. Here's a lower high over here into the shakeout. Do you think people thought this was a bear market? Right? Possibly. Look at this stuff that Alan is putting out over here. Alan absolutely is looking at it all this morning, and I just want to know more. It's absolutely extraordinary. You are bringing. It's not even on fire. Alan is exploding. He's like a supernova right now, going ballistic, and it's beautiful. Giles on CTM Discord, adding the beginner CTM section. This channel is aimed at helping those who are new to trading and implementing CTM strategy. Feel free to share your charts with your resistance and support levels, as well as trend lines, and we'll help one another learn to identify high probability setups using the CTM strategy. Giles, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beautiful stuff over there. Missing control. We continue working. We had an absolutely extraordinary session yesterday. Ted and Ian working together over here, making sure that we continue to work out Hive Mind CTM 4-year cycle to know where we are and where we are. We're going to be doing that a little later this morning together. Let's continue, go back over here, take a look at the markets. We've been online for what, 10 minutes? 15 minutes, and continue banging it out over here. A lot of people watching what's going on with Ethereum. Ethereum's flying. Over here, I talked about it yesterday, as Ethereum was getting absolutely, let's say, devastatedly destroyed, right? For me, a sign that the market was bottoming was watching Ethereum bounce up first, right? I didn't have the opportunity to tweet that out to anyone. I didn't take it as an actionable signal. I just wanted to see Ethereum rebounding. That was a sign that Bitcoin is soon going to follow. In the CTM training video we do this morning, that we're going to be doing, the live session we're doing this morning, not only are we hyper focused on the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, the model, also on Ethereum. There's a section about 20 minutes towards the end solely focused on Ethereum, Bitcoin, what happened in the 2017 bull market, what's happening now, why the difference is, what happens going forward from here, and what happens 4 years from now. Absolutely amazing stuff. So glad to do it with you all, right? So over here, what happens next? Well, we'll wait for that session. We'll wait for that session together, and we'll do it together. I don't even know what else there is to share with you all this morning. Everyone should have just pretty strong awareness of where we are in this moment. Still uncertain. We're still uncertain, and it's a good place to be, right? How could that be a good place to be? Because we're watching our backside. Option B, if indeed at any point we roll over, right? If at any point we roll over, making that lower low, we know that we've entered or believe with a higher probability that we've entered into some type of Wyckoff accumulation phase. We're going to know how to play it out. We already have the schematic. We already have the roadmap, and we'll be there together ahead of it. Instead of feeling any type of fear or uncertainty, we'll talk about what it means, or we talk about actually in the training session this morning, what that would mean for the 4-year model, when the 4-year model is broken, right? By the way, there's a very, 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 very low probability in my mind that this is what transpires, right? Obviously, we stick with the base case, option A, but you can't get, let's say, comfortable. There's nothing to get comfortable with at all. The only place we begin getting comfortable, or I begin getting comfortable, is once we break above this trend line over here. People right now, and yesterday's session did such a fantastic job in setting everyone's time preference and mindset correctly, right? There's no rush. There's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people missed that lesson over here, right? On the Friday, last Friday, May the 14th live stream, when I'm like, listen, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting neutral. Some people heeded the call. A lot didn't. When you're uncertain, you get out of the market. Why was I uncertain? Well, it was very clear. I thought this was the mid-cycle shakeout. This 30% drawdown over here, I thought this was the mid-cycle shakeout. I thought that we were recovering out of a V. And then all of a sudden, Elon tweets, price comes off, and I'm saying, wait a second. That doesn't happen on a V-shaped recovery, right? And then all of a sudden, getting out, getting neutral. I said very clearly, someone has just done a cannonball into the lake, kicking up mud, making everything all fuzzy and unclear. I'm getting neutral, right? And that remains the same over here. Now we have more clarity. Well, when I say we have more clarity, once we had that first resumption out of over here, things became a lot clearer, right? A lot safer. If we break outside of this reverse head and shoulders, okay, we even have more clarity, right? But it's still fuzzy. At any point in this whole area, we could still trade back down. It could very well be the institutions are here and they're playing institutional games. I'm not leaning in that direction. I'm leaning in this direction. This is Bitcoin being Bitcoin. We've seen these fractals play out before, right on time. But I'm not going to look, when I look at the 2-hour time frame, by the way, I'm just doing it to give you a little bit of accuracy over here, because it is providing the accuracy I need to show you, right? Don't get confused. Right now, the 8-hour, by the way, is probably too small of a time frame to even be looking at right now. Most people, why things are uncertain, should probably be focused on the daily time frame. It took 9 days for price to make a higher high in the daily. That's just occurred over here. We have yet to make a lower low on the daily, right? What would that be? Well, that would be a signal that things are getting a little bit spotty again, right? As long as we continue to rise up, price rising up with higher highs, it's a good place to be. But you want to be on a higher time frame right now as we're waiting for this uncertainty to play out. We have a lot of markers over here, situational markers, to help us know when that's occurring. I'm trying to pull it up for you over here, right? This is the best one to be looking at right now for CTM as we're waiting and watching. Again, Alan pointing out, Fridays we have Dibrit and CME options expiring. Max Payne's to the upside this time. First time in the bull market, Max Payne is not to the downside. Max Payne's to the upside. Will there be significant players trying to bring price up? Perhaps. We will see. We're not too far off for saying, okay, we continue to be exactly how past cycles played out at this particular stage. Right? We're not too far off. But there's no need to catch the bottom. When things were different, right? When I called out, this is the V, this is the beginning of the parabolic move, that was done, right? And hold on one second. Let me start removing some of these things to get us a little bit clearer. When I pointed that out, that was the bottom of the V, and I did it over here. I did it right over here. I said, look, the parabolic move's beginning, the V-shaped recovery, right? When I pointed that out, things were a lot more clear, or I felt they were clear, right? Once we got over to here, and I kept saying, wait, something's not right, Ted went ahead and did his work, and he lined it up, and he said, well, and he pointed it out to the Discord group, and he said, look, we could actually still have the shakeout to come. There's no crystal ball here. I don't have a crystal ball telling me the future. All I do is have a bunch of situational awareness points to help me make sure that I'm at the right place at the right time. Obviously, things are not going to play out exactly as they have in the past. You have to understand that. That's why when things didn't and price came down over here, that's why I got neutral, because this was not a V shape. Something was wrong. I got neutral. There was a lot of uncertainty in the market. I was not expecting a 50% drawdown or calling it whatsoever at any point, nor would I. There's no question about that. But knowing when things are unclear, uncertain, when something's off, and that's where we remain today. There's no need, even though, obviously I think it's a high probability that this is the bottom of the beginning of the parabolic move, that this is the V shape begins from here. I'm not going to do that now. Things were different over here, and I found out, hey, look, I was wrong. Now there's a lot of uncertainty, so there's no need. I could step back a little bit. I could lower my time pref. I could get on higher time frame charts. I know it's confusing when I go down to the 2 hour to show you the precision. But that's why I'm taking the time to say, hey, listen, things are still uncertain. We don't know what happens from here. We're waiting to get back clarity that we need. Yeah, and we don't have that clarity yet. Oh, you could see price rising now. You might feel a little bit like, but it's not clear. Clarity comes once we break outside this trend line, right? And if that's happening on time, if that's happening within the time frame and the windows that's happening in past cycles, then we could feel, okay, now we could be a little bit more aggressive. I'm not going to say this is the beginning of the parabolic move, although that is option A in the base case. Don't be confused about that. But right now is not the time to get, let's say, frothy. Now's the time to be very, 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 let's say, cautious. It's important to be cautious, okay? Until we get the clarity we need and it's a little clearer. What else are we looking at over here today, right? This was beautiful. Sharing by Dakota in the Market. Preston, the Investors Podcast, Preston puts out some really high quality signal work over and over again. He's saying this is one of, he thinks, the most interesting charts in the whole financial world right now. This is something obviously that we've built our work over here in CTM, not just off the 2016 cycle that he's showing over here, but also off the 2012. You're going to love today's training session. When everyone saw the training session we did with Brad a couple of weeks ago, which was absolutely extraordinary, wait till you see this one. Wait till you see. I loved it. It's over 2 hours. Over 2 hours, and I walked away with the biggest smile in the world, sitting down with Ted and Ian and some coffee, going over a modeling together. It was absolutely beautiful, right? And I put out to Preston, I said, look, you think that is interesting? You got to see the work CTM is doing. You got to see the work CTM is doing. The light blue, by the way, is the 2012 cycle. The dark blue is the 2016 cycle. And the white is the current cycle. Notice the descent into the mid-cycle dip. Notice it's almost perfect symmetry. You got to be paying attention to what's going on over here. Preston also, by the way, just so you know, If you're not familiar with Preston and his work, you should be, right? People asking, do you think that we've entered the bear market? Alan AU giving absolutely extraordinary tweets over there, explaining and detailing and breaking that down as well. And Preston's a no. I think we got another 5 to 10x from here. 5 to 10x. We will see who's right. We're going to get there. We got it together. Is that possible? Is that still the base case? If you look at the bottom of the mid-cycle dip, approximately 150 days to the cycle peak, that changes things, right? No longer are we looking at mid to end of September. Now that's later. That's in October now, right? We have to continue following what the market is showing us and not get caught up and hold on to any type of preconceived notions. At each and every time, you have to be a student of price and what the market is showing you. But are we still looking at some crazy numbers? Are we possibly looking at somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 or higher? We'll see what happens over there. Also, anyway, that's a surprise. I'm going to save that surprise for you. What I am going to do, though, is play some head snack over here. I'm going to drop it hard over here and then come back and look at what's going on and take it from there.
Markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Take a like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Throw from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
All right. Andrew's asking, when is Taproot being ready to be signaled? I mean, we're right. Check out Adam Black on Twitter. He's all over it. His tweets are telling you exactly what's going on, which miners are signaling when. We're about 95% there. It's soon. By the way, if you go back to the 2016, that doesn't show it over here. How could I pull it up for you? Right? Well, over here in dark blue, 2016, we're into July during mid-cycle dip. Coincidentally, right? That's when SegWit was signaled. Let's see what happens over here this time. Could there be some type of similar play happen from the narrative at right around the same time as well? It's really interesting. It's really interesting indeed. So listen, hopium makes you vulnerable. There's no question about that. Hopium makes you vulnerable. There's no question about that. But I have to say, whether or not you listened to what was being said at the time it was being said or not, whether or not when I called the mid-cycle V, the parabolic move beginning, and then you just decide to lean in, right? But then when I'm like, wait, get neutral. No, by the way, coming off absolute perfection. Right? And then you decide to hold on to your trade, you're going to, obviously, you know what happened, right? Going forward, tough lesson learned, no problem. Let's make sure that we continue to stay focused together, right? The link to the training session will be sent out at the time the training session begins. That's at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. It'll be posted in the announcements of the Discord channel. People wondering whether or not the Discord community is part of the training program. It's all inclusive. It's not only today's training session. It's not only all past training sessions and all future. It's also the CTM strategy and principles, the course, the Discord, all of it's included. The link is sent out in the Discord and by email at the time we get going over there. Dan, you've been here for a very, very long time. Not only that, you invest a lot of your time watching all of the sessions, right? Now, you say that conquering the markets appears to be victim of institutional FUD. as noted on Discourse. Sad we were played. I don't see that even a little bit or at all. So we're coming from different places. I don't see that even a little bit or at all. Right? Listen, either you listened or you didn't. That's all I could say. But the FUD, anyway, I don't see that even a little bit or at all. Okay? So a couple of other things over there. Can we take a quick look at that? No. Jordan, how do you feel about the Fed starting to pull back QE? Cash, they put it out. Travis, at the very beginning of this live stream, after the music introduction, the first thing that's talked about, go ahead and watch that. I defer to the experts and just shared right now what the experts are talking about. Why would they be experts? Zoltan has a history of getting the repo and reverse repo correct, right? We first looked at what he said back in December of 2019 when the repo market started falling apart. That's September of 2019. It is what ultimately led to the pressure on the financial system that did cause the dollar liquidity crash, triggered by the lockdowns in March, right? So that's what he's saying right now. By the way, they think it's bullish. So that's all good. I think that's it. I think I'm going to go ahead right now and make sure I'm prepared for everything for our upcoming training session. Again, the link will be sent out in the Discord. A lot of people a little bit jaded from the past couple of weeks. That's fine, right? It is what it is. But if anyone's unsure and you want to go back right now and watch the Friday, the May 14th trading session, when I said to everyone as clear as can be, this is the first time since the channel started, I do not know what's going on. I'm getting neutral. It could not have been any clearer. I don't know what's going on. It's very muddied out there. Someone just jumped in here, did a giant cannonball into the lake, kicked up all the mud. I'm getting neutral. Jordan, did you sell your spot? No, I'm not selling my core position. I'm holding that the duration of the bull market. But I'm getting neutral. Trading and leverage, neutral. It's up to you. All right, everyone, thank you for the time together. Thank you for all of your thoughts and prayers for my wife and the baby. We're so grateful for you. Beautiful. This morning, the first comment I saw was good. I think that good that we're here live this morning. Listen, I will for sure, because of this happening, I wouldn't have if it happened yesterday, I don't think. Everyone will know in the Discord for sure what's going on. I updated them yesterday what was going on with the doctor. The Telegram announcement channel, right? There's a link below in the description. I will also include on there, and I will also try to include on the YouTube channel in the community section an update if my wife goes into labor and we're not going to be here on our normally Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time schedule, half hour before the equity markets open. Equity markets unchanged right now. Dollar slightly up, bouncing off support. Gold and silver mixed on the day. Right now, the market is just kind of in a holding pattern. All right, everyone, I'll see you in a little bit for the training session. I'll talk to you soon. So please tell me, please smash the like button if I just did a rant without sound, right? If I just did a rant without sound, please let me know. Oh yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. I love it. If you know, you know, and now you know. All right, let me go back and let me share that with you. I stopped the music because it was so important. I stopped the music because it was so important. And then it went off, and I went off on like, anytime the sound's not on, by the way, and I'm going off on a rant, it's a good one. Anytime wait, before I even go any further and talk about what is so important, this is more important. Yesterday someone came up and asked, would I look at Doge? And I said something that I shouldn't have said, and I made a mistake in saying it. And listen, I just want everyone to know listening that I have the utmost respect for Heath and everything he does all the time. Not only that, I fully support him putting on my featured channels on YouTube. Heath is absolutely a gem, a bright shining gem. He's not even a hidden gem, right? And his channel is growing enormously. He's got the same amount of views I had or even more for the amount of time he's been streaming. Watch what happens a year from now. He's going to be a giant, that's for sure. So anyway, I want to clear that up, but I want to find out the question that set off that rant, that really rant. And I love it because it's been a while since I last did that. So I'm glad to bring it back. The question was, Jordan, when did you have clarity? I can't even find it, Boom. Oh, sorry, I'm having fun. Jordan, when was it that you exactly had clarity? Could you please pull that up for us, right? And then, so I can't find the question. It was highlighted before. Y'all saw it, right? Here it is. There it is. Boom. Jordan, could you show on the Bitcoin chart when and where you had clarity of the Bitcoin movement, please? Otherwise, it sounds like you never had clarity. Thanks. No, that's the thing. I never had clarity. It's over here on May the 14th when I start the session off and I said, listen, I do not have clarity. And by me showing you why I do not have clarity, there's going to be clarity in that. At this particular time and since, I've lost clarity. At this time and since, I said things are unclear. You have to change your time preference right now until they become clear again. Things will not become clear for me unless we break above this trend line. And then, okay, now things are clear once again, right? Things are not clear today. They have not been clear since Friday, May the 14th, when I said to you that things right now are uncertain to me. I don't know what's going on. For the first time since we've been here together on this channel, I do not know what's going on. I'm getting neutral. Jordan, did you exit your spot core position? No. I'm not exiting. My stop loss is 0. I'm not exiting my core position. I'm keeping that the duration of the bull market. Trading, leverage, I don't know what's going on. I'm neutral. And there's great clarity in being neutral. A lot of people want to know what's going on all the time. You're missing one of the most important pieces of the game. In my pinned Twitter thread, I give over some of the most important tenets of trading. One of those is that being on the sidelines is a position of strength. Some people can't handle that. They're like, well, do I buy? Do I sell? We're going down. This is what, I don't know what happens next. I'm uncertain, and I've been uncertain ever since Friday, the May 14th. If you want me to point it out on the chart, exactly when I did not have the clarity, right? It's right over here on May 14th. Go watch the live stream. I'm very clear, and I start the show off saying, I do not have clarity. And there's going to be clarity in that. And anyone who watched the stream, I know Ian at the end of the stream, he commented, wow, there is great clarity in that. Some people get it, others don't. We'll have clarity if we come up and we take out the low. If we take out the low, then okay, option B, we're looking at some type of accumulation phase. There will be clarity in that, and we'll be able to go ahead and play it out and position accordingly, right? Things would be different. We talk about that very clearly and closely in today's training session. It's absolute gold. You're going to love it. There'll be clarity once we break above this trend line over here to the upside. What you notice that? How about them apples? There will be clarity once we break above. Hint, hint. Eventually, we're breaking above. I know that, but I don't have clarity what happens here right now. I haven't had clarity since last Friday. we're on Wednesday now, and that's okay. I feel really comfortable not being clear. I feel really, really comfortable and really strong about that, and you should too. I think this was a really strong session. We're light on likes. That's okay. Lots of love to you all. Thank you, my brother, Elias. Big, lots of love to Leo. But no, Haya. Listen, a lot of people really have lots of different opinions about what I should do and how I should do that. Whether they're so supportive and whether it's so clear to them that they don't see the need in that. I have to say, and what some people like, could you do shorter sessions? Could you just tell me to buy? The reason I do what I do is because it brings me the clarity I need. That's the reason why I do what I do. Now, if you're able to participate and watch and invest your time and get it, then it's providing the service that I really want to share with you all. That's important. But by going over people, right, who question me or anything, that brings further clarity for a lot of other people. It brings further clarity from a lot of other. Jordan, I wish you would never address the trolls. Well, the only reason that we have this particular community, which is absolutely extraordinary, there's nothing else like it on the internet at all, is because throughout the inception, since I began the channel, that whenever someone would come in here and troll, I would take the time and to let everyone know that type of behavior is not only not accepted, you're gonna get it handed to you. There's no way we would be here today with the quality of community we have if that type of behavior was allowed or not addressed. And it's the same thing with questions that maybe you know very clear, because I've been saying it ad nausea, repeating, I lost clarity over here. I'm on the sidelines. But there's a lot of other people who don't get it. And by me addressing that and taking a look at it, or even today, I've been telling you, and when people ask me in the very beginning, do you think this is a Wyckoff distribution? And I'm like, nope, I don't think it is. I'm going off of my work of where I know that we are in the cycle, right? And then it plays out, and I say, okay, well, listen, this guy was right. Watch his video. He explains it very quickly, and whether he's right or wrong, it played out still hitting the target indeed. Right? Now, and then I very clearly say, if we recover quickly, well, in hindsight, that wasn't Wyckoff distribution. But then I showed you today, well, I asked the experts, is that true? And they're like, yes. In that case, it's just a shakeout. It wasn't Wyckoff. I love that. Wyckoff distribution. And not only that, they use the term, it's a shakeout during our mid-cycle shakeout. Anyway, it's important to take the time to discuss these things. It really is important to take the time and go over it, or at least it is for me. It's the only way I could have the clarity that I have. So that's why I do what I do. Thank you for spending the time together. Wyckoff. That's a meme right there. Wyckoff. I love it. All right. There you go. You guys are all amazing. Those that are CTM to the core, you guys are all outstandingly amazing. Thank you for everything you do. Let's play some honeymoon vocals, and let me go ahead and get ready, including getting some espresso up in here, getting ready for our training session. I can't wait. Well, look, this is beautiful. What a way to end this session. I'm glad this came up over here. No, Jordan, I mean, what about over the next 2 or 3 years? What about the next two? Well, listen, as it stands today, I'm pretty clear that, a year from now, we're going to be in the midst of a bear market and it's going to be ugly. But don't worry, I will be there and CTM will be there and we're going to lead everyone through that, right? Now, people talk about where we're going to be 2 or 3 years from now. People talk about, we have some beautiful stuff. We share it all the time, right? Speaking of Preston, we had Greg Floss on his podcast a few weeks ago. It was sometime in the early to mid-April, talking about the bond market and Bitcoin and the credit markets. People are like, where's all the money going to come from? How does Bitcoin get from here to half a $1 million, right? How does Bitcoin get to $1 million? How does Bitcoin get to $20 million? Right? These markets, the bond market is absolutely enormous. Ray Dalio, a month later, listening to these guys, don't think Ray Dalio is not listening. Michael Saylor made it very clear. The only reason he got to understand Bitcoin is from listening to the same information that we listen to. Ray Dalio listening to Preston's podcast, listening to Greg talk about the bond market, and then Ray Dalio on the dip, on the shakeout, he's like, yep, I bought Bitcoin. I prefer it than bonds right now. That's a risk, owning bonds. More debt and more, it's getting riskier out there. There's no yield on it. I'm buying Bitcoin. Where do I think that we are 2-3 years from now? Listen, the whole point of doing the CTM Hive Mind 4-year cycle is to accumulate more Bitcoin. Because if we are continuing to see the 4-year cycle play out, it makes no sense in holding through an 80-85% drawdown. The whole idea is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, if the 4-year cycle breaks, right? And by the way, I give to the date in this training session when the model's broken. When I know the model's broken, the model's not broke or even close to it. It's playing out with perfect symmetry. But if it breaks, I tell you the date that it's broken. And what does that mean? Okay. Well, now we don't get the opportunity to sell our Bitcoin and accumulate more, to massively accumulate more. Now that means that we're just, we entered a super cycle and we're just going to be hodlers, and then we'll focus on other ways we could accumulate more Bitcoin. It's not going to be through the 4-year cycle like that. And that's that. So where do I see Bitcoin going in 2 or 3 years from now? Well, we're going to have in between, we're going to have a massive, second half of a bull market. It's going to lead to a massive bear market. That's going to take about another, let's call it year and 5 months, a year and a half to play out, and then from there, we're going to be going through an accumulation stage, getting ready for our next halving. That's going to set up a supply shock, and that's going to set off the beginning of the next Bitcoin bull market phase. And we're going to be all over it. And we're going to be so much sharper than we are even now. Yeah, forget 99% or anything like. Are we going to be really hyper aware of what happens mid-cycle next time? Yep, lesson learned. No question about that. I am always spending more time on my mistakes to learn from them. We're just going to get better and better. It's who we are and it's what we do. Everyone, I'll see you in 32 minutes as we get ready here for the training session. It's going to be epic. I will share the link in the Discord and send it out by email. Have a beautiful day. And I thank you for all of your thoughts and prayers for my wife, for the new baby, for the health of each. Thank you. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.